Yeah, we can.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, I was having some audio issues and I apologize, but now it seems to be working again. So that's perfect. Yeah, welcome everybody. I can see we have 13 people on the call today. I see a lot of familiar faces by now. By now, I start to know the names. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I think without further ado, we can get started with me presenting the agenda. And as I speak, I'm hoping some more people will join us. And as we get into content, we should have a good group. So again, good seeing everybody and welcome to the session. I'm calling up my slides and let's talk about what we're going to cover today. All right. I'm not going to go over this because this we've talked about a lot. You know, you're covered. You get the slides and you know you can interact with us anytime. So we really appreciate if you're sending us messages, or if you want to talk anytime, just raise your hand and we'll be happy to respond to your questions. Yeah, so what's today's objective? Finally, we're going to be talking about logistics, and we want to talk about the key challenges of international delivery and warehouses. So I want you to understand the key challenges, and for that, as Chris already said, I think we have a good setup today because we have two people that we're going to be getting information from. On the one hand, we have our very own participant. I think Leslie is here with us, and we will be doing a bit of an interview to get a sense of the experience that you know, some of the Caribbean companies have had with forward deploying their inventory. And then secondly, as Chris also mentioned, DHL is joining us, and that will be in about an hour, and we'll have opportunities to you know, to ask questions to DHL, but also let's keep it interactive with Leslie as well. And Leslie, I think I saw you before, but it's thanks so much for volunteering, and we'll get back to you once we start with the section on the interview. So understanding the key challenges of international delivery, that is one priority. The other thing that I promised you guys is that I wanted to do a cost breakdown so you could understand what it really looks like when you forward deploy products in terms of the cost. Like, what are the cost factors and what do you need to be aware of? So I pulled together a bit of a cost breakdown for you guys. Okay. Agenda. I have a few announcements that I want to make as usual at the beginning. Then we'll talk about, I'll be talking quite briefly. I'll try to keep it brief on my end, perhaps 20 minutes to talk about cost breakdown, and also talk a bit about the case study. At 9:35, we are looking to do a quick interview with Leslie from Only Coconuts. Rachel will be our interviewer. And then at 10 a.m., hopefully we have DHL joining us. And we'll have time as usual at the end for questions and answers. I see that Ricardo and Sophia just wrote in the chat. Good morning. It's good to see you guys. And again, like, good morning for all of you who are present today. It's good to see you as usual. Let's talk a little bit about announcements. So I want to start by talking about the first assignment. So I want to talk a little bit about the first assignment. I want to thank those of you who have provided answers. These are Alicia Contreras, Jens Kamin, Helen French, Ellen Lichteringen, Leslie Rumwell, and Nick Davis. So thank you guys. You are already considered, so you will be considered for the the next phase and you're considered to be able to benefit from this program, I will be honest, like I would expect a few more people to do the first assignment. We have a certain number of slots open, and we want to make sure that those of you who have had any issues with the first assignment can still take advantage of this. So we've decided to extend the deadline a little bit, and we just want to make sure that everybody who started the assignment gets to finish it. I know we have a couple of names here who started the assignment, but for some reason it didn't get done. So we have unfortunately I only have email addresses here, but I'll make my screen a little bit bigger so that you can see. So these are the few names that I have that started to do the assignment but haven't completed it. So I want to remind you, when you do your assignment, please make sure that at the bottom of the assignment that you click on the submit button, and then we will receive it. So going back to the presentation, but yes, deadline has been extended to the 14th. Please do this first assignment. It's really helpful for us to see what products you have, so that we can help you as best as we can build your store. And I want to remind you at this moment why you should do the assignments that we send you, because you then get a chance to be included in our phase 3, and that means you get your Shopify store for free, and more importantly, we are willing and able to support these winning companies with budget for logistics, right? And today we're going to talk about exactly this scenario where, like, we invest in you, we provide funds for you to ship products into a warehouse, and today we're going to talk about what effects that can have on a business. Of course, those who get selected also get individual coaching, and there's further supports we basically make sure that your store is right up there with the best stores on the web. So that's why you should do your assignments. And again, thanks to those who did it. We already have 6 assignments that we received, so that's fantastic. But would be great to get a few more. Good. That brings me to the second point, which is the second assignment. And I want to thank Jens for engaging recently. Jens, you were asking, what's the matter with the second assignment? When will we get it? And so the reason I have not sent out the second assignment yet is because I'm still waiting for a few more people to complete the first one. The second assignment, I want to send it out by mid-week, and we'll give you time until next week to complete it. As a reminder, the second assignment is building on the session from last week, where we talked about pricing and competition. So what we're asking you to do in the second assignment is to go look for 3 competitors and then add the competitive information into the pricing sheet, which will allow you to get an understanding of your profitability. And again, like all of what I just said, it will be, it's written down nicely, step by step in the assignment that I will share. But again, please bear with me a little bit before I share the assignment, because we're waiting for a few more to finalize the first assignment. Cool. That's what I have to say on assignments. Are there any questions or doubts on the assignments?
There are some people asking for the links of the assignment. We will share them in the chat and also by email later.
Actually, I can share it right now because it's here on the presentation. So let me actually copy paste it right now and add it to the chat. And again, I do realize, that we had some issues. Initially, the wrong link was sent out for the assignment, but now, since last week, you have the correct one, and I'm sharing it again in the chat to everyone. So please, if you haven't started your assignment, please just click on the link. All the instructions are right there on the landing page. When you click on the link, just follow the instructions, and you'll need to reserve a little bit of time to do it, because we're asking you to add 5 products to an inventory list. So yeah, I would guess that you probably need to take half an hour to perhaps an hour to do this. But again, we'll give you time until the 14th, which is Friday. So yeah, would be amazing to see some more assignments from you guys. Yeah, Chris, were there any other questions or any other things to clarify on that? Okay.
No, all good.
Okay, perfect. Then the last thing, and I have 1 minute to stay in time. The last thing I want to talk about is, so what about the next steps in terms of who we select and how we select those who will get the benefits that I just talked about? So we will select based on the first 2 assignments. So we are asking you to do the first one, then we'll share the second assignment. And by next week, by the end of next week, like my aim would be that we have then reviewed both assignments, and that based on the outcome of those assignments, we can do the selection. And the way we do the selection is that there are 2 key factors that you need to be aware of. So the first one is simply engagement. So just the fact that you have done the assignments qualify you to be reviewed. And then the second factor will be we will look at basically at the potential of your products based on the second assignment. So you will tell us about your competition, you will tell us about your pricing, and based on this, we will have an idea on those of you that we believe have a good potential to succeed, and where like the money is well invested in terms of investing in getting your inventory into a warehouse. So those will be the 2 criteria. So potential of your product and your engagement. Again, end of next week is the aim, and the communication likely will not happen during the webinar, but likely a little bit afterwards via email. So we will we'll make sure that you're up to date on it, and it'll happen in the next 10 days or so. I see we have a question from Monica. So I'll allow myself to just read it out and respond to it right now. Monica, so you're asking, can you tell us whose assignments you received, as I sent mine, but not certain if it was received. Okay. I can. So I do have the list, and it's the list that I shared just before. I'll be happy to share it later as well. But since it is right here, let me tell you again. Okay. So here are the responses I have so far. If you see your email on here, then I got your application. If not, I didn't receive it. It's also possible that you're on the list here. Those are the sellers who started but didn't fully submit the assignment. Cool. I hope it clarifies your question. Very nice. So with this, we can move to the content section. As I mentioned at the beginning, now we'll take about 15-20 minutes, and I want to talk a little bit about a seller I have worked with, and where we have done forward deployment to a warehouse in the US. And I want to give you just break down for you what the cost was and talk a little bit about do's and don'ts with this particular seller. Caveat. Because many of the sellers that I've been working with recently are not in the Caribbean region, it will not be a Caribbean example, but there are many parallels, and I think it will be a good exercise to just frame your mind around what we've done, and because it's very similar to what we're going to try to do. And in short, we did the same thing, right? We had a group of people. We then selected those sellers with good potential, and we invested in sending their products into a warehouse. And we're going to be doing the same with you. Now, when it comes to specific elements and aspects of shipping from the Caribbean and shipping food, that's why we have luckily we have Rachel and we have people in the group who we will be doing the interview with, and also we have DHL in the Caribbean that can answer the questions that are specific to the region. So from me, you can expect kind of more the high level and broad picture, and then we'll dig down as we move forward with the webinar. Nice. So let's talk a little bit about this case study. And for this, I will be sharing my screen, so you can see the seller, and you can get a sense of what this is about. Okay. All right. So this seller here is seller I've been working with for, I would say, the past 1.5 or 2 years. His name is Abduvali. He is based in Uzbekistan, which is a country in Central Asia. He has built this online store. He built it on eBay. I already mentioned, I've done a lot with eBay, but the key thing is that the customers that he is reaching with this store are 90% in the United States. And we have done a pilot with Abduvali in sending 30 products to a US warehouse. And I want to talk you through this pilot and the reason why we did it and what the results were. What I can tell you already is that it was a learning curve, but at the end, I can say that it worked more smoothly than I would have expected. So the whole shipping process was fairly smooth, fairly quick. The process of integrating with the warehouse was also easier than expected. So everything worked quite smooth. And I can also already tell you, like, the products that we sent to the warehouse last year, they were sold. They were almost all of them sold out. We had 32 that we sold, and we have at the moment we have 30 that have been sold, and 2 that are still remaining in the warehouse. So we can say that overall this was a success, and that's why I want to talk you through it, because I consider this a pilot that worked out, and that's exactly what I'd like to replicate with some of you. So with that said, let's dive into the presentation and take it from the start. So what was the initial situation? So initially, we have a seller in Uzbekistan, again, very remote country, and we are selling these products that you can see here, which are traditional kimono type products. And the key thing you need to know is, we have been selling those. Like, this seller had been selling those out of Uzbekistan, and actually there were people in the United States buying these products on a regular basis. So we're talking about we're not talking about huge volumes, but we're talking about probably about $4,000 to $5,000 in sales for the year. So that would correspond to what is that, kind of maybe 15 sold items a month on average, and that will change depending on the season. Like towards the end of the year, when Christmas shopping season starts, then we would sell a lot, and then during summer we sell a little less because it's less in demand then. But overall, we have kind of I would consider this a small but interesting side business. Okay, and the seller cares about it, and so we're shipping from Uzbekistan, and guess what? The shipping costs are really high. We have to pay $40, and it takes us really long to get the product into the target market. In this case, the United States. It takes us 2 weeks. So what is the objective that we had with this pilot? So the objective was, let us partner with one of the warehouses, in this case, deliver.com warehouse, and get the products into the warehouse in the United States. We had a budget of $650 from the project that we would make available to the seller. And with this budget, our goal was threefold. Number one, we wanted to obviously increase sales. Number two, we wanted to increase profitability. And number three, we wanted to do all this while maintaining the price. So we did not want to lower the price or do promotions or anything like that. We wanted to sell at the same price, but have more sales and better profits. And I can say that we succeeded with it. As I mentioned at the beginning, so 90% of the products were sold out within half a year, which means we're now in discussions to stock up again. Right now the question is, how do we stock up so we can have more sales at the better profit margin? So 90% sold out, but most importantly, we were able to halve the cost of shipping and increase the shipping speed, or cut the shipping time by 5. So instead of 2 weeks, we were then able to ship within 2 to 3 days. And if anything, this is the thing that should stick with you. Like, the reason why you would forward deploy inventory into a warehouse is just because people expect quick shipping, and that's only possible when you're close to the customer. Last but not least, we did achieve a better profit, but for this, I want to go into the cost calculation. And let me just do a quick time check, because I don't want to take time away from the interview. I have 10 minutes, and I think that's just about right. So I can talk you through the cost breakdown of this whole exercise. Now, before I do that, I just want to check if there are any questions or any concerns from anyone.
No, so far all good, Kevin.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So let me then take the 10 minutes I have left and talk through the cost exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be, so let me remove this because it's going to be Shopify for you. I'm going to be using the pricing sheets that I already presented to you. This is the same Excel sheet that we are using for the second assignment. So you will see this again, and I will be asking you to add your competitor information in here. So it's a good way for you to it's a good way to recap what we're going to do in the assignment anyways. So here's what I want to do. I would like now to show you the before and the after. So what is the cost breakdown before we had the product in the warehouse, and what is the cost breakdown after we have it in the warehouse? And we'll just go top to bottom. We'll take it slow, and I think it'll be clear at the end of the exercise. So the first thing that we did is we identified the competitor price, and we found out that the price for this type of product on the market, that we could sell this kind of product for $100. that is the price, that is the market price, essentially, based on the competitors that we reviewed. We also checked the competitor shipping fee. So what is the competition charging for shipping? And what we find out, so this is one of the competitors that we reviewed, and it's kind of small to see, but you can see that it's free shipping, essentially. It's free standard shipping. So we can enter in here that the competitor shipping fee is $0. So we now know that our competitor, the total revenues they generate when they make a sale is $100. Now the question is, what costs go into all of this, and what do you make at the end of it? Now in this case, the cost of production for Abduvali, it's $30. That's what it costs him to get a product like this made, essentially. Now the shipping cost, as I already mentioned, the shipping cost is really high. It's $40 to get this shipped, right, from Uzbekistan to the target market. And then we have a number of fees, which I'm not going to go into detail with, but the only thing you need to know right now is this cost calculator. I'm setting it up in a way that your Shopify fees will be automatically calculated. In our case, the fees that we have for the platform, so we're selling on eBay, so the fees are slightly different, but we were looking at fees of $14. So if we add up everything, we're then looking at a total of $84. And given that we are selling at $100, we are left with $15.96, and that is essentially the what I would call the gross profit margin. That's, with this you still have to pay, for your own work, for your own time, etc., etc. So we've made a bit of money, but it's not thrilling or huge. Okay, so this is the situation when we sell from Uzbekistan. Now let me move over and do the same calculation using that's the after. That's when we were in the warehouse. Right? Now we are in the warehouse, and let's delete all of this so we can fill it again. So the competitor price, it hasn't changed. It's still $100. The competitor shipping fee, it's still $0. My cost of production, it hasn't changed. It's still $30. Now, however, my shipping cost has changed dramatically. And the shipping cost, it turns out to be, let's see, it's $21.93. And you're going to ask me now, how do you get to $21.93? And that's exactly what we need to do now. How do we get to this lower shipping cost? So for this, I want to talk you through briefly through this calculation. Don't worry, we'll take it step by step, and it'll become clear. So what have we done? We have, we have prepared a box of 32 of those kimonos, which we shipped to the warehouse. We have been able to, we've used the cheapest possible shipping method, and we were able to find a shipping company that would ship this for $300, which I would consider to be a really good rate. So we're looking at $300 overall, and the question is always, what is the cost per unit? And since we have 32 units, the cost per unit it's $9.38. So that's my cost for what I would call the inbound shipping. So getting the product from my country into the warehouse. But obviously, the warehouse is not is not working for free, there is a fee. And what were the fees that we had to consider? On the one hand, we had storage fees. And I mentioned to you that it took us 6 months to sell out. So we have to consider those storage fees. And the storage fees, they check out to $2.10 per unit. And finally, we have a fee for picking, packing, and delivery. So this is essentially, the agent or the staff in the warehouse finding your product, preparing it for shipment, handing it over to the postal service, and then making sure that the tracking information is updated and all that. That comes at a fee, and the fee is $10. So all in all, we're looking at $21.93. I'm just gonna add one more thing. In this case, you can see that the taxes and import duties field is left empty. And the reason that the taxes and import duties field is empty, it's simply because we talked to our shipping provider, and we were able to, they agreed to declare this shipment as samples. And thanks to this, the declared value was below the threshold for taxes and duties. And again, as a reminder, since we're talking about the United States, the threshold is $800, and any parcel below $800, we don't have any issues in terms of taxes and import duties.
Fabian,
yeah.
There are a couple of questions. You just answered one right now. That's great. The other one is from Ellen. She's asking if the cost of production is cost of production the same as local retail price, or is it cost price without profit margin?
That's a good question. From my discussion with Abduvali, so he's not the producer himself. He's actually a reseller, and what he gave me. So off the top of my head, and I may need to get back on that, but off the top of my head, this is what he pays the supplier. Like, that's what he has to invest in the supplier. So my understanding is there is no profit margin on this. So the only profit margin that we have is the one that I showed before, is this one here. Yeah, in your case, I think we decided that we would put in, instead of the cost of production, we would add in the local retail price, and I think that then gives you kind of a little bit of a bigger buffer. So you have a bit of profit built in here, plus you can see what the profit is, in addition to your local retail price. So it's kind of up to you how you want to, how you want to do it, but to be consistent, I would say let's just use the local retail price for now in this project. So I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah, I think all clear.
Okay. Was there any other question?
No. If not,
okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay. I'm 2 minutes over, so I'm going to wrap up now. I want to go back to this view and just talk you through again the cost breakdown. So again, I repeat, competitor price $100. So this is what we can sell at, and this is the price that we are selling at. Cost of production $30. Shipping cost $21.93, and that includes everything. Everything's included there. Again, we have the fees for the platform, and we now check out at $62.44. So that's my overall cost. And guess what? We now have a much more interesting profit margin. We're looking at $37.56, and that's compared to $15.96. So what we can say in short, if I go back to my presentation, what we can say in short is that, going back to this slide, that again, the outcome, the shipping costs were cut in half roughly. The profit was increased by about 2.5. And very importantly, we're doing all of this while also having a much, much better shipping time, right? And so, so at the end of the day, we can say it's a win-win for everyone involved. You know, like we are making more money as a seller, the customer is getting the product faster, and the warehouse is also making you know, making a bit of money. So everybody wins in this. Very important though, like if I go back to just the first point on this slide, we need to be clear here, right? We had proven demand for this. We already knew that we were selling already, despite the fact that it was 2 weeks, despite the fact that the shipping cost was $40. So that means by putting the products in a warehouse, we knew that we had a good chance of selling. And that's why I put so much emphasis on the potential of the product and the prices and all that, because we only want to do this exercise if we feel strong about the opportunity. Great. One more minute, and then I'll hand over to Rachel. In the slides, I also have the full cost breakdown for the full pilot if you want to check it out later. And then I have a couple of do's and don'ts, and I'm not gonna go through all of them, but just want to recap the key ones. So I think yeah, the key ones were, I guess, so always very important to find a good deal for your inbound shipment to the warehouse. And it doesn't matter if it takes a long time to get to the warehouse, because nobody cares about the shipping time. What's important, nobody cares about the shipping time to the warehouse. What's important is that once it is in the warehouse, and once we activate these products for sale, at this point, people can place orders, and at this point, the shipping time matters. But before anything is in the warehouse, we're still in the preparation phase, and we're not yet selling. So it's possible to choose a slow shipping provider and save cost on that. Again, the second point, I always recommend doing the math, just like we did before, so you have clarity on what your potential profits are. Then the question about samples, that's also something we might clarify with the DHL speaker a little bit later, but that's always a good thing, especially when we're doing pilots and small scale and we're trying things. Then a good way to simplify things is by declaring your products as a sample, so you can avoid like the whole the taxes and duties. And that again is specific to the US market. When we talk about the European market, we will not be able to avoid it, but again, we'll be able to help you with this. Yes, and then, I almost forgot, but when I worked with Abduvali, so the Deliver.com warehouse, they have this referral program, and whenever we're a group of sellers, several sellers together, then we can send each other referral links. And in the case of Deliver.com, like each time that we refer a client, we get like a $300 credit on the account, and that's really useful because it means you don't get invoiced up to $300. So it's something that I have on my mind anyways. For those who do get selected for this, it's just a good way to get a bit more money. Okay, two more things. So again, don't worry about delivery speed for inbound. It doesn't matter then. And secondly, don't worry too much about the technical part. So meaning, if you do a good job on getting all your inventory onto Shopify, basically then it's very simple to connect Shopify with whatever warehouse we select. And again, we'll help you on this, but this This is the simple part. The hard part, and the one that we really want you to focus on, is about just getting your store ready, as we showed last week, having the nice banner up, your logos up, having the descriptions up, having the products up. That's what we need. Once we have that, the technical part and integration to the warehouse is the easier part. Perfect. I apologize for being a little bit late. I will now finish my part, and I would like to check in with Rachel and see if we are ready for the interview. Rachel,
Yeah.
are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, I'm having a little connectivity issues, but yeah, I'm ready for the interview.
Okay, fantastic. So I think I'll hand it over to you, and you can check with Leslie, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just share my screen. So I mean, thank you to Fabian for sharing. And I think logistics has been like, there's no fixed formula to work this out. But I feel like experience helps. And, Fabian and I have been deliberating, and we wanted to ensure that, we use real examples, because we don't want to come on and say that this is a fixed solution. It's about how do we work with real entrepreneurs, real business owners, to really solve this issue together, because being a part of the Caribbean, we have our own unique challenges. And Leslie from Only Coconuts has been so gracious to share his insights. And we're just going to go through some quick questions on, what has he done? His website, his platform has been pretty, interesting to see, the high level of imagery. A lot of the things we discussed about standing out online is integrated into their website. So we want to just commend Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer the questions. Is your mic on?
Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, everyone. Yes, certainly.
Yeah, great. So we just have, there's three topics really that we want to cover in the logistics and to answer some of those questions. One is the challenges, two is the solutions, and three is the next steps. You always have to be thinking future forward. What is happening in this space? How can we prepare and future-proof ourselves? So the challenges are, you want to talk about the main issues. But I'll ask Leslie right now if he could just introduce himself. Who is Only Coconuts? Why, we selected him to kind of share his trajectory of how he was able to integrate logistical solutions within his website. So tell us, Leslie, tell us about yourself. Who is Only Coconuts?
All right. Thanks again, Rachel, and thanks for choosing me to share my experience here so that all of us could benefit at the end of the day. First of all, let me say before I talk who is Coconuts that business has never been my background. I come from a military and drug enforcement background. So business is relatively new to me. I've been only in business for just 4 years now. So I'm learning as well, like every other participant here. It's a learning curve for me. Okay, so don't think that I've been in business for a number of years now. All right, so who is Only Coconuts? Precision Global Inc., or Only Coconuts, is the largest coconut processing facility in the Caribbean. We did our feasibility in 2012 when I actually did a feasibility for the company despite I was still in the military. And we saw that it was a very, very good venture. And so what we did from 2012 to 2015 is that we traveled around the world, looking at all those, especially those Asian countries where you have large coconut processing facilities. And we looked at some of the challenges that they were experiencing. So when we started construction here, we factored all of those challenges and tried to mitigate them in our construction. At the same time, what we did is that we reached out to the international certifying bodies like HACCP, BRC, and so forth, to look at what are their requirements to be certified. And so we factored all of that in our construction. So at the time when by the time we finished completing construction, we were actually ready One, we mitigate some of the challenges that those larger companies are having, and at the same time, we ensure that we were ready for our international certificates. So those are some things that we did initially. And so we finished construction in 2018, and then we had some minor setbacks, and we actually started production in 2021. Then COVID came, and so we were forced to close. Started back in July of last year, and here we are currently. So our products that we're currently producing are the virgin coconut oil, refined oil, coconut flour, desiccated coconuts, and coconut chips. So that's basically who Only Coconuts is, and where we started and where we are currently.
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, Leslie, we want to talk about some of the challenges that you would have faced, what you've done is amazing in 4 years. I think that's commendable during the pandemic, of course. But we want to discuss a little bit about the top 3 challenges that you would have faced when configuring specifically the shipping logistics for your online store.
Okay, so Rachel, as you would have pointed out earlier, shipping within the Caribbean, it's totally different from if you're in North America. There's so many challenges here in the Caribbean. And for us in Guyana, the first challenge you have if you're going to ship across the Caribbean is getting your product out of Guyana, because doing less than container loads of products out of Guyana, it's a nightmare. I could say that. So you have to start looking at how you're going to ship and be able at the same time to reach your customers on time with the delivery. But looking at the online shopping, we are currently at Amazon, so we are selling through Amazon. And we found some unique challenges, and I guess other businesses have encountered the same. And the first thing that we would have faced is how do we get the products readily available and in a timely manner to the customer, especially for those customers in North America. Because one, getting it, I have an order now online, getting it from Guyana, it becomes a challenge immediately. So what we've done to mitigate that challenge is that we have forward load a lot of our products to a warehouse in Canada. We do have a warehouse in Canada. So because of that, it makes it much, much easier for us now when we have an order online to have the product shipped from Canada to that customer. And also it reduces the cost significantly and the time frame the product gets to the customer. So that's the first thing we did, forward loading to our products to the warehouse in Canada. The other thing is that for challenging for us is the costing of the product. What would be the final cost to the customer? Again, shipping out of Guyana, we know the cost is going to be exorbitant. And so you want to minimize that. And then you have to compare your cost of shipping to the product itself. And I'll give you a good example. For example, virgin coconut oil. If we're selling it online, let's say for $6, would a customer be inclined to buy the product for $6 and then you may probably have to pay $4.50 to ship the product to the customer? So you have to look at that to say, okay, is it feasible or not? So what we came up with to look at bundle package. So in terms of the bundle package, you're paying the same cost, but you're not getting one product, you're getting several products. And that we found much more appealing to customers, and we have gone with that. The other thing for us is that what it does for us from our side is that it helps us with marketing and bringing brand awareness to customers out there. So at this time for us, it's not so much about making a profit, but to ensure that brand awareness is what we're pushing out there to get to the customers. Be aware of this product. How do you develop that loyalty and that market? How do you capture that market space? So those are things that we have considered in our costing to get to the customers. It's not only about the profit at this time, but bringing brand awareness and getting the product out there to customers. And over time, right, we have paced ourselves, we have given us a time frame when we're going to look, review everything, and then say, okay, this is what we would like our profit margin to be. But for now, it's not so much about the costing, it's about getting the product out there and brand loyalty. Brand
I like that understanding of understanding the strength of your brand is so important, and building that brand recognition and all these things. So I love that.
All right. The third challenge is for us is packaging. You have to look at where your target market is, and you have to factor climate, especially for oil. Because here in the Caribbean, we know it's warm weather, it's very hot. So you wouldn't have any challenge with the oil because it's going to remain in that liquid state throughout. But when you're shipping to North America, to the US, to Canada, to Europe, what happens during the winter season? The oil is going to coagulate. It's going to get into that semi-solid state. So how does customer be able to utilize the oil? And so we had to look at our packaging. And so for us, what we did is that we came up with 2 packages, if you could see that, for the oil. So this one here is where we currently use for the Caribbean market. So you could pour this out easily because the oil remains in a liquid state. But then for our North American market, we had to come up with this package. So it's a jar. So in the winter season, when the oil gets into that semi-solid state, or if you want to keep it in your fridge, you could now scoop it out. This you would not be able to pour it out. So you now have to, you have the advantage here of scooping this out. So that's the other thing that we had to look at for our product in terms of the packaging. And I think those are the 3 major concerns we had when it comes to logistics in reaching our market. And I said, you have to factor different markets, different customers, and then of course for the oil, you have to factor the climate, which is really important for that.
Okay, great. So we want to talk about some solutions. So I know the challenges are there. Thank you for sharing that, because not a lot of businesses would share the challenges that they face. But what are some of these solutions? And, just telling us, where do you currently ship to? And what are some of the solutions that you utilize when shipping to those specific target markets? So if it's the US or wherever, just tell us, where do you currently ship to? And what are some of those solutions that you solved within shipping to those markets?
Okay, so for the Caribbean, we are currently shipping to Barbados, Suriname, Antigua, St. Kitts. Those are the countries throughout the Caribbean. We recently got orders for Bahamas, Jamaica, and there's another country that we're currently packing products for. What I've found throughout the Caribbean, as I said, shipping across the Caribbean is certainly a big challenge, especially for less than container loads. So what we've done is that for every customer or potential customer that we have out there who wants to be a distributor for whichever island in the Caribbean, what we've done is that we travel to that island, we spend time talking to the customer, and also we take a lot of products to be given out as samples. So what it does for the customer is that upfront, we have started the marketing for that distributor. So with that, we go to various supermarkets, we go to corner shops, and we distribute all the samples and working along with the distributor. Secondly, is that when it comes to shipping of the product, because of the size of the population for most Caribbean islands, which is very small, having a distributor taking a container load of product for the first time, a 20-feet container load, is going to be a challenge. They're not inclined. But then when you look at the cost of shipping the product for less than a container load, overall, it's better to work with going for a container load. So what we've done is that we've split that cost with the customer. So we absorb some of that cost as well. And then on the marketing aspect, because we would have been in that island before, assisting with the marketing, and then when we shipped, we also sent a large amount of samples so that the distributor could now have additional products, not a part of his expense, to distribute to customers. And again, we go back, we do follow up with help in marketing. At the same time, like what we've done in Barbados, in Suriname, is that for every expo, for every trade show they have, we're out there marketing the product. So it helps the distributor to have that advantage. We're doing the groundwork for the distributor prior to the product getting into the country. So that we have found to be very, very helpful. And in that way, the distributor now is more inclined to go with a container load of products where he's saving significantly on the cost. When you look at the cost per individual item, it reduces significantly. And at the same time, being confident that you have the producer who is supporting you with the marketing aspect of the distribution.
I agree with that. And I've experienced that where samples matter. Having samples, trials is important with your products. So thank you. And the last question is next steps. Are there any notable trends you observe since shipping internationally? And how are you planning to respond to those trends?
Yes, for when we look at Canada, because we also distribute products in Canada. So internationally, and soon to be, we will be launching our products in the US in another month and a half, because we were just trying to make some slight changes. As much as we've gone through FDA and gotten the approval, there were some slight changes that had to be made to our labels. So we were almost finished with that. What we've seen the trend is that for the North American market, there is certainly a big demand for coconut products. And so you have to be constantly assessing it and see what are your competitors, what coming from the Asian countries, what are the products, and what is it that customers are more inclined. For example, we know that there's a big demand now for organic products. And so when we have done all the lab analysis for our products, and for us, there is no additives, no preservatives added to our products. And so it's almost like organic. It's just that we are not certified organic as yet. But what we do as well for large distributors, we ask them to make direct contact with our lab that is certifying our products in Canada. So the trend there is that you're giving customers that advantage to verify the products themselves and not just taking the producer in our words for granted. So we're allowing customers to interact with our labs, have your own verification. And so that is giving us that advantage when compared to other competitors. And the trend is that customers want to be assured that when they're buying a product, they're getting quality product, and that whatever the producer is saying to them is authentic, that they could rely on the producer. So that's a trend that we've gone to in allowing customers to interact with the labs and to verify whatever we're saying about our products, that that is what we're selling to them. And I think it's giving us a very good competitive advantage when it comes to our competitors.
Thanks, Leslie. I'll jump in here because I think Rachel, she just WhatsApped me. I think she had an issue with the computer, right? Rachel, you're not there right now with us?
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. She's connecting again.
Okay. No worries. Yes, thanks so much. That's really useful. I do have a couple of follow-up questions, and I think, Chris, we can also ask the audience to ask questions to Leslie. So I think, feel free to raise your hands and ask questions directly. I'll maybe start with the first question, and I think we can take a bit more time until Rachel's back and DHL comes on for the interview. Leslie, so the one thing I'm curious about, so I really like, obviously I'm interested in the international shipping aspect, the Canadian warehouse. I'm curious about the warehouse. Is this, can you tell us a little more about the warehouse? Like, what about, do they have temperature control? What do you think about their pricing? Is it reasonable? And what about like imports into Canada? How did that go? Could you tell us a little more about that process?
Okay, so the warehouse is actually owned by our company. So
okay,
that offsets a lot of our expenses. And yes, it has temperature control and all of that. So we're able to manage all our inventories there. Shipping to Canada has not been a challenge once you're able to satisfy the requirements of the Canadian customs authorities. So it has not been a challenge for us. Unlike the US market, as I said, what we found is that the labeling of the products, the US market requires a bit more details on the labeling. So that is what the adjustments we had to make when we were approved by FDA. And that's what we are currently working. But our current labels satisfy the Canadian and the EU market, as well as throughout the Caribbean. So that is fine. So now for us here in Guyana, when we're packaging, is that once we're ready to launch in the US, we have to be careful, because once you have an order for the US, then it's a totally different set of labeling that has to go into place. So that now will require some adjustments to our labeling facility here in Guyana, as well as a little bit of more training for the staff that will be doing the labeling to ensure that you don't have that mixed up along the line. But I'll say that this has not been a challenge for us to get the products into the Canadian market.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. Chris, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes, there are a couple of questions in the audience. One from Sandra saying that Leslie spoke about absorbing costs. How did that affect your profit?
Okay, yes, it certainly impacts on our profit, but I said at this time, because launching a company of this magnitude in 2021, looking at the size of our company, we have the capacity of utilizing 120,000 coconuts on a daily basis. So that's a large amount. For us at this time, the thing is not about making a profit. It's about brand awareness, pushing the product out there. Because you have so many competitors, especially from the Asian countries, who've been in coconut production and byproducts of coconuts for so many years. So for us, we've given ourselves a 5 years period to be able to really get the product out there, build that brand loyalty, get customers to be aware of the product. And certainly, yes, you want to make a profit, but the focus right now is not about that. We're making a small profit so as to enable us to have that sustainability. But the aim right now for the next couple of years is to brand awareness, brand loyalty, develop the product, get the product out there to every customer, to every country across the globe. And that is what we're currently doing. Perfect.
There is another question from Ellen, who is also a fan of your company, of your coconut chips. She says that at the back of your package, there is a Canadian flag. What is the meaning of that?
There's a medium.
There is a Canadian flag.
Oh, yes, because as I said, the parent company for us is in Canada, right? So Only Coconuts is a subsidiary of the parent company, and that is why we have both flags, the Guyana flag and the Canadian flag here. And because we also have the warehouse facility and all of that in Canada, we want to show that connection. And again, the lab that certifies all of our product is an internationally recognized lab that we managed to find in Canada as well.
Okay, interesting. Great, no more questions so far in the chat. Any last question, or we can move on to the next interview?
I have, if I may, I have one more question. Just I'm curious. You mentioned about Amazon, and is it correct that so are you already on using FBA, or are you considering that, or are you shipping out of the warehouse in Canada to Amazon for Amazon orders?
We are currently shipping out of the warehouse in Canada for Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. Are you considering fulfillment by Amazon? Or
yes, it's something that we are currently looking at. Actually, we started on Amazon in November last year. So it's something that we're looking at the volume of sales that we're getting.
Yeah.
I said when we started off, it was fairly slow because it's a new brand. A lot of people weren't aware of it. So it's going to take time, and we do appreciate that. But you have to be consistent. You got to be persistent in what you're doing and ensure that whatever you do is that you always have your customers in mind, and that you're doing your best to ensure that what they get is quality products. And that is what we are currently doing.
No, I mean that's exactly what I would say as well. Yeah, the one thing I realized recently, working a bit on Amazon, and I'll be super short on this, but it appears to me like that in order to be successful on Amazon, my feeling by now is there's no way around fulfillment by Amazon. Like basically, if you want visibility, you need you need the FBA infrastructure and the next day delivery to get like the prime customers, because there's like, what is it, like 100 million or so prime customers, so they can get like next day delivery for free. And if you're shipping out of your own warehouse, then even if you're quick, even if you're 3 days or 4 days, like it's always not quick enough for Amazon. Like Amazon always has to be like the next day. So anyway, that's maybe something to also consider as a follow-up discussion. But I think that would really help your visibility on Amazon in the mid long term. But,
I totally agree with you, Fabian. But I said it's a learning curve for us, and so every opportunity we get to interact with persons out there, we're willing to learn. We are learning as well as we go along, and how things could be done differently. And so it's certainly a new venture for us, in the sense for me, just being in business 4 years now and be able to get to this stage already. But again, persistence is really important. And once you are determined to get there and be successful, you will. It's just a matter of time. You just have to be patient sometimes. You're gonna have obstacles. Nothing is smooth. road for us. We've encountered so many obstacles already, especially during the pandemic, but we are very, very persistent. And so it's a learning curve. And certainly we're here. I'm here because I want to learn more. And that is why I seize every opportunity for any training sessions. I'm always there because I want to learn and to share our experience. So although we're a new company, we're eager to share our experience. In every country that I've gone to marketing the products, I interact with people. I try to sell the products, and I also try to encourage new startup companies and share my experiences and to guide them along as to how you could get going. It's going to take time, but you have to be persistent and be determined, and you will be successful.
Yeah, fully agree. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Sorry,
Yeah, Chris, handing over to you. Oh,
Yes.
Rachel's back.
Rachel is here.
Back.
So,
oh,
yeah.
Great. So back to Rachel, because I think our DHL contact is here as well.
That's a challenge of being in the Caribbean, connectivity issues. So I'm so sorry. But Leslie, I really do want to thank you though. I think like sharing insights on your business it's not always easy in the Caribbean, and I think Guyana is like poised right now. There's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of buzz around just the country as a whole. And I think you focusing on the marketability to, while you're figuring out, obviously logistics is a technical issue, but I do think that your brand name and how you push your marketability is going to just bring those solutions, right? So really appreciate it, Leslie, for sharing. I know it's not always easy sharing your business insights, but I hope everyone is like taking note, because there is no formula right now. We're in the Caribbean, we're figuring this out. So I think what we can get out of each other's experience is going to really matter. So I know this phase we're supposed to do the DHL. We were able to get someone from DHL within the Caribbean to sort of share some logistical issues. How can you integrate shipping solutions into your online store? And as Fabian keeps telling us, like those who are selected are going to have some of those solutions brought into their business processes. So I believe we have the DHL business here, right?
Yes, Jason is here with us.
Awesome. Welcome. So he's going to share a little bit about, some of the solutions that exist in DHL, as well as the most important part is he's going to answer your questions, right? I know a lot of you all had a lot of questions around logistics, so they're going to share with us exactly this, realizing your global e-commerce potential. So thank you so much for sharing, and I hope everyone listens in, because this is some vital information of how we can solve logistic issues with your e-commerce platform.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Jason Delpinan from DHL. I also have here with me Hugo Leon, who also will be presenting. And what we're going to talk about might be pretty interesting for most. So I'm just going to let Hugo start, and then I will take over coming down to the end, okay?
Hugo.
Hi, morning, everyone.
Morning.
Firstly, I would like to send some apologies across to our country manager, Andrea Davis. Unfortunately, other engagement came up that kind of clashed with this. I know she really wanted to be here because this is very exciting, seeing that, Caribbean businesses trying to reach their full potential is something that we all want. And saying that, we can start the ball rolling. So very briefly, today's agenda, global e-commerce trends, how to determine your global opportunities, solutions for you and your customers, and then of course, key takeaways and questions and answers segment. So as we share, DHL, the global logistics powerhouse, serving B2C and B2B, trade in 220 countries. So I know someone was studying the reach and how far you can go. So let's think about 220 countries. The network is large. It never sleeps. Keep that in mind. And this is the different umbrellas or divisions of DHL. So we have DHL Express, which we, Jason and myself, work for. We have the e-commerce solutions, the supply chain solution, of course, global forwarding, and post and parcel, Germany. Next slide. So just to give you some mind-blowing stats on shopping. So we're looking at the world. I know we are focused on the Caribbean, and we are Caribbean, but the entire globe is our reach, especially when you're partnering or you're working with an international company. So just some quick stats. 90% of consumers reported that their online shopping frequency has increased due to COVID. Now, these are some stats that came out. This is a marketing that we did around COVID time. So some of the information is related to that. So bear that in mind as well. $4.8 billion cross-border B2C e-commerce market is predicted to reach 4.8 billion by 2026. Sorry about that. I get distracted. Consumer behavior has changed. Very important point. They expect everything on demand, anytime, any place, and to buy anywhere. Keep that in mind. 50% plus smartphones are on track to contribute more than 50% of online spend by 2022, which was last year. Again, this marketing product was done during COVID. 84% to 98%. 84% of shoppers are unlikely to shop with a brand again after a poor delivery experience. And 98.1% say that their delivery impacts their brand loyalty. So our gentleman before was speaking about his brand and his brand loyalty and the importance of changing certain things to fit certain markets because he believes in brand loyalty and what his brand does, you know. And the last stat, 99% of the world's population lives outside of the Caribbean region. So think local. Some of the markets that we saw has an increase in their online shopping, and a lot of people, especially the products, the local products, the Caribbean products, we have seen growth or demand for growth in some of these countries as well. So in Canada, as our good friend before that shared, there is a lot of potential within that market. Canada, the USA, Brazil, online shoppers, just think about that, Mexico, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. You know, just look at some of these figures alone and you could see, you know, where your brand can fit in or tap into. I mean, the Caribbean is just one sector of the world, and the globe is so huge. Of course, e-commerce is transforming because of the pandemic. And because of the pandemic, we will see, of course, a lasting change on the e-commerce sector. People no longer what we will call brick and mortar stores. They are more going to online for everything that they need, even a taxi ride. You can now schedule or get a pickup online. Of course, again, the data is from 2020. So understand customers new to online shopping in 2020 will retain behavior. Now there's experience, the ease and convenience of doing so. So I think it was our first, the first speaker was speaking to the beauty of your website, the creation of your website and how it looks and the ease of doing and navigating through a website. So if you can have develop yourself and develop a website to be user-friendly. Of course, people will return to it, and of course, it will draw more attention to your product and more views and more likes to your product and to your brand, of course. Offline retailers who pivoted to online during the pandemic will continue to invest in digital. Now they're seeing the benefits. And of course, once you see the profitability in what you're doing online, I mean, everything is a matter of staying the course, being patient, but obviously understanding your business and your market and your niche and investing towards that. And for sure, you will see that growth. And of course, the last line, the silver economy is one to watch. The older generation were previously reluctant to shop online, but the pandemic changed that, which is true. So true. Now, some of my aunts and uncles, they are more tech savvy. They now go on Amazon and they purchase things on Amazon. Prior to that, they would have come to you or come to me and say, I need to get this, buy this online for me. But now they are all do-it-yourself type of people now. So yes, which means Gen X and Gen Z has a older, and as the years go on, the market changed to older and the older set of customers and people that you purchase your product. So how your customers, sorry about that. How your customers, I'm not seeing this being too clear here. I'm sorry about that. Great, thank you. Spending habits have changed. Your customers demand flexibility, speed, and reliability. And of course, the last speaker said that, and the first speaker said that as well. Your customers are important. We are nothing without our customers. Consumers are increasingly purchasing via their mobile devices. So the more that you have your apps and these online solutions for them, I think the more people will visit your website and make your website reachable and so on. Customers prefer to pay in local currency. This is another big factor, using local payment methods. It's a point that, when you're setting up your website, you could think about that as well. Speed of delivery can be valued greater than the cost. So I know one of the concerns for most of the individuals or most of online sellers will be, how do I incorporate shipping costs into my product? Oh, and of course, the shipping costs might be more than the product that I'm offering. And I'll just ask, think about some of the things that you purchase online and really understand what is the cost to you to have it here in 2 days rather than waiting a month or 2 months to have it. Some people go to online shopping because they want a need to be fulfilled as quickly as possible. It's not something that they want to wait for. Nobody wants to wait anymore. So it's something that you could also take into consideration when you're offering or putting your product online. 58% of global consumers would choose a retailer solely because of its delivery options. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Many customers, we have witnessed many customers saying that I need this dress for my wedding on Saturday. And if I purchase it today, would it be here on Saturday? And when you watch and you check the calendar, today is Thursday. So, and the possibility of it being here on Saturday is a reality. So just offering different solutions on your website can generate or guarantee you that sale for that product as well. And again, if that person needs that product or wants that product, having a fast, reliable service to it, it will really outweigh the cost of anything. And I believe this is where I pass to my good friend, Jason. People.
Thank you very much, Hugo. You know, honestly, we had so much great speakers before. I think we honestly would skip straight to the technical aspect. However, I'm going to quickly run through these slides for everyone's knowledge. So what is your opportunity? So when you speak about DHL e-commerce or e-commerce in general, it doesn't just refer to the size of our organization, whether it be small, medium, or large entities. E-commerce refers to anyone who wants to go online with their business. What we have seen over not only during COVID, but post-COVID as well, pandemic, more service customers and businesses are going online and have seen tremendous profits by them deciding to go online with their business. And not only go online, but also domestic and international as well. But what we are seeing is the customers who tend to focus more on the international side aspect of their business have seen tremendous profit returns. So what it means for us or you as an organization, it doesn't necessarily limit to only the domestic market, but more the entire world. We're moving right along to what if you don't yet ship internationally, which I mentioned in previous slide. Yes, e-commerce is growing at such a substantial rate, but what if you don't yet ship internationally? As you can see here, 25% of online businesses grow each year and have an average shopping cart value increase of more than 70%, which is not unusual for online shoppers. Yes? I know we also mentioned earlier that some challenges we have is customs being a barrier, but partnering with certain international logistics organizations such as DHL helps organizations breach that customs issue that they have both locally and internationally as well. So what if you ship internationally but not express? I know we mentioned earlier that price is a major issue. What determines whether you want to offer international shipping to your customers, or you think maybe the price might be too expensive that your customers might not want to pay it. But what we have seen is online merchants who do offer that express shipping offer to their customers have seen that the express shipping option is selected more than regular shipping option. Given the option, the customer's option to also choose whether they want to choose the express option or regular shipping can also be a major determinant factor in whether your business is profitable or maybe customers are even turned away by not having that express option available to them. And what we have seen is evidence has shown that using express also leads to higher shopping cart spend because everyone who wants to get their shipments as fast as possible, and then they look at the price second. So you ship internationally, but not with DHL. I know Hugo mentioned earlier that DHL is the global market leader in over 220 countries and is highly experienced in e-commerce. We have the knowledge of the various industries, the requirements of shipping cross-border, as well as the customs recommendations on what can and cannot be shipped. And we also have something called DHL on-demand delivery, where customers can now choose how they want their shipments delivered to their door. Whether it be they want to have it delivered at a different address, they want it hold for collection, and having multiple delivery options available to them. I mentioned ODDs just now, where customers have the option to customize how they want their shipments delivered. This is just an example of the different options that customers have when shopping online, choosing DHL as an express shipping option. So customers have the option to have the shipments delivered at a new date. The shipments can be left at a different location. Customers can collect at a DHL service point, or they can even change the address where they want shipments delivered to. And what we have seen, 68% of millennials will choose a retailer based solely on how much delivery options they have available to them. So creating trust and brand loyalty. So this was actually touched a lot earlier, and how important it is to create brand awareness as well as trust with your customers. And this slide is even more important because so much persons are going online to shop now, or so much companies are going online with their business that the competitive market is a bit stiff. So how do you make yourself stand out versus your competition? So this is just a bird's eye view of just some of the questions that customers ask when they're going online, right? Will the order be handed over to delivery service? Who will be handling the delivery? And what about, okay, how fast these shipments are going to get delivered to them in a safe manner? Or even does the merchant offer international shipping is also a major question as well. Building trust through transparency with your global audience. So this, in terms of building trust through transparency, what about just such food for thought, having a feedback page or a frequently asked questions page where customers can actually see the answers to their questions without having to reach out to the merchants about how they want their shipments delivered. Okay, so these are just some frequently asked questions customers look for in terms of what they're looking for in terms of international shipping. And just to summarize everything that we spoke about, cross-border e-commerce is such a lucrative opportunity regardless of the company size. DHL supports companies of all sizes through collaborative partnerships, and how COVID-19 has also changed the global retail landscape and how trust and brand loyalty is even more important than ever. So how do you get started as an organization? Simply offer international shipping, also offer multiple delivery options, flexible delivery options, and provide full tracking services as well, where customers have the option to see their shipment from point A to point B by automated tracking services. Right. And that's it from the DHL's perspective. I know we maybe have a lot of shipping questions, so we are actually willing to answer any questions that people may have in terms of logistics solutions.
Okay, thanks so much. Here you go.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much for presenting. I mean, I think it's like within the Caribbean, like, I mean, just side note, Hugo and I know each other since we were kids. And that to me is what culture is, you know, linking with solutions. You know, Hugo has been a part of DHL for a really long time. And understanding that, you know, offering shipping solutions and how you integrate it into your online platform, it's very vital. And when you have a shipping partner that you can trust or rely on or ask questions, is very valid, right? So we literally have the DHL reps for the Caribbean here. You know, any questions you all have, please, this is the time to ask the questions. Of course, they are going to reach out to you all, or you all can reach out to them after and answer any further questions. But now is the time, open up the floor. Fabian, yeah, we're going to open up the floor. Leslie already has her hand up, so feel free to unmute Leslie and we'll take the questions away.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you to DHL and the team there for giving us such an insight presentation. One of the things for us at Only Coconuts is that we have been utilizing DHL services extensively to ship samples to potential customers throughout the Caribbean and further afield. What I noted recently is that there's now been a broker service being offered by DHL, of course comes with a fee. But sometimes when we look and we try to ascertain what really are the services being offered by the brokers, we are not sure. Because of the one, for me, it takes a longer time now for us to have the product delivered to the customer. So I'm not sure what are the services being offered by the broker, or if it's a case where we could have our broker do all the paperwork and then get the products to DHL. If that could be clarified for me. Thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, you want to find out, okay, what the different brokerage services offered by DHL versus what your broker can do, and then how we can have it handed over to DHL for transportation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, in terms of Guyana brokerage, we'll actually have to get back to you on that because we'll have to reach out to the Guyana agent to see, okay, what can DHL Guyana do to support you as a business?
Okay, sure. Thank you so much.
So what you can do is leave us your email address and we'll reach out to you directly. Is that okay?
That is fine. Yeah, I'll just put my email address in the group chat.
Just to add, and why we are saying that, just to add to Jason, is each Caribbean island, although we are under the same sun, has a different customs, a minimus, a different customs rule when it comes to certain items entering their jurisdiction. So for example, Trinidad's minimus is 3,000 USD. which is equivalent to 21,000 TT. Why I'm saying that is that anything above that, we will require a formal entry, which will engage the broker. Now, I know for Guyana, once it's not a document, it will require a broker. Once the item is not deemed as a document, it will engage a broker to do the clearance for you on your behalf. And so far at Barbados is the same. I think Barbados have a lower minimus as well. Jamaica has a different minimus. So to speak to the brokerage on each island, we will need to have a specific rep from each island speak to you on that specifically and provide a solution to you on those sorts of issues. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, certainly, thank you. Thanks for that feedback.
Rachel, I don't think we can hear you. We can see you move your mouth, but there's no sound. Can you guys hear Rachel? Is it just
No,
me?
neither.
No,
No.
unfortunately, no.
Okay, Rachel, we cannot hear you, but it's okay. I have a couple of questions as well, and I think maybe Chris is monitoring the chat. Oh, you're back, Rachel. You're
Yeah,
back.
you hear me? Okay,
There you
great.
go.
Yes, yes, you are.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, if we can link each country specific rep to, those within the cohort, I think it would be a great linkage. So we can always
Correct.
connect that after with the team at DHL. So if you are interested, of course, put your email in the chat and your country that you're located in, and we will link you with the direct rep in that particular country.
Chris or Rachel, do we have any hand up or other questions, or can
There's a question
let-
from Ellen in the chat. She's saying that, well, from Suriname, they can only ship documents to the USA and Europe with DHL. Why is that, and what can be done to solve this barrier?
From the Suriname, they can only ship
documents to the USA and Europe with DHL. And why is that? And what can be done to solve this barrier? They're saying that they can only ship documents to USA.
Okay, and that has to be.
And then can you share the type of products that you have?
Products, correct.
So we know specifically what you're trying to ship into the US and Europe markets.
Correct. Because certain, and that's a good point, Rachel, because certain items, the US food and drug, they have.
So she said she's trying to ship chocolate bars.
Chocolate bars. I don't think dairy products, that will be an issue into the US market. She will have to do what we call, trying to remember the name of the document that they will have to approve before shipping.
And
dried that information. Sorry?
Yeah. And she said also dried cocoa beans.
Right. So she will have to get those documents from the US, given that approval before the item is moved into the US.
Okay.
I will get the correct name of the documentation for her. And of course, if she lays information.
Okay, Ellen, can you share your email address as well? And we'll share that with the team at DHL, and they will reach out and give you some.
We'll get someone on that island to ensure that she has. And while I'm asking that, if you have a DHL service like the previous gentleman, if you use DHL services before, normally there should be a rep assigned to you. Once you have an account with DHL, there'll be a rep assigned to you, and that rep will be able to assist in every shipping need that you require. I don't want to speak, Rachel, I really cannot say for island what are the laws that governs them.
Yeah.
But in shipping in general, I could give you we can give you what affects us as well in Trinidad too, in terms of what is the basic needs and requirements to certain countries.
And I think, I mean, Leslie answered some of these questions, guys, that compliance and food safety is a big part of you entering certain markets, right?
Territories, correct.
Like, this is not for a shipping provider to solve that issue. That is from a company standpoint. If you want to enter to the US or the European market, and you're producing chocolates or you're producing coconut products, you need to understand what are the requirements to ship food products into that country, right? So there are specific requirements. Now DHL can obviously, or any shipping solution could probably guide you on what is required, but a lot of times it's under a certain value or a certain volume, right? So if you're shipping a chocolate bar to your aunt in New York or something, it's very different to, you know, exporting into that country. So we have to remember those restrictions and requirements for you to enter. So Brian has a question. What if there are certain restrictions of specific food items or articles that appeal to a specific niche market in that country, and how can you overcome that issue? So I mean, those are legislative, you know, requirements in that particular country. So Ellen is saying we know about FDA and also know the requirements of European market. Great, awesome. So once you understand what those food and safety requirements are, and you have the documentation and the certification to prove that you can ship to those countries and you're certified, then of course, you know, these are things that you need to share with your shipping provider or your broker who's gonna arrange that shipment.
I have a quick follow-up question, Rachel, if I may, on this point. So to our friends at DHL, you know, one of the things that we see is some of the platforms that sellers sell on, like they don't check for certificates, you know, FDA and others. If a seller wants to use DHL, do you guys require to see some of these documents before you allow the export? Or yeah, what kind of, how restrictive are you? Do you need to see all the regulations are met, or is it the other way around, that you don't really check for it and it's on the seller? What's yeah, how do you guys handle that?
Actually, it's both 50-50, right? Because we have agents in every country. We have we have two sales reps assigned to every customer in the different islands. It's the responsibility of both the sales rep and the customer to liaise with one another to identify, okay, what are the products they're shipping, and to also support them with shipping internationally as well. So we would also look at their products and say, okay, tell them, okay, what can and cannot ship with DHL.
Okay. Brian has his hand up. Brian, you can
Hi everyone, wherever you are around the globe. I want to follow up on the question I asked. And the reason why I asked that question is because I encountered a situation with FedEx, not DHL, when it was shipping some items overseas. And it doesn't have anything to do with this particularly, but it was just sending the item overseas to a laboratory for testing. And all of the requirements were met to send this particular article. However, immigration over there in the receiving country had questions, and it delayed the whole process. But at the end, they had to do an investigation, and then all of a sudden, the time frame that the sample was supposed to be delivered was a little bit reaching the edge of craziness, and it was spoiled. But the regulatory body then said it was okay to then reach the destination. What does a company do if such a thing occurs? If you meet all of the regulations, everything is circumspect, but because of some sort of regulatory issue between the DHL, for instance, having to finalize that final documentation with the regulatory body that governs imports to that country. How do you navigate around that?
Relationships, I guess. I remember, I'm going to be honest with you. You could have every single piece of document to accompany a shipment, but at times, Homeland Security, US Border Patrol, Customs could find an issue. They could sense, and they are within their right to do extra search, extra investigations into certain things, which will cause delay. What could help? What could help is relationships between your shipping company that represents you and the relationship that they have with the customs authority or whichever authority is asking for that information. The faster that they provide the information, the better for the end product. In terms of what I say that is that if they take long or carry the process, for example, they are asking customs, probably asking for a declaration form, a C-82 or C-75, and they in turn take 24 hours to get back to you. That's 24 hours you're delayed, correct? And then you take another length of time to provide that information back to them. That's another delay. And I'm saying that is to remind you, at the end of the day, you're doing business. And once you're legitimate, you have nothing to worry about. 1, 2, there will be obstacles such as that. They do tend to, and this is customs globally, flag certain items, individual names, products and so on for extra search. You can't get around that. That is their security, that is their right to do so. But what makes the process faster is you being willing to provide that information as soon as they request it. The people that move your item or that you choose to be a logistics partner, make sure that the relationship that they have with the authorities in whatever country that you're going to is good, is above board, so that when they ask and they could provide, then they will have less of an issue with your products that you are moving. So there's no really quick fix to it. It's just that being proactive, being ready to assist with their investigations or what they are asking for, and moving the process along as fast as possible.
May I follow up to that, Rachel? I'd love to ask here to our friends at DHL. So the people in this group, we are looking at the cocoa and the coconut producers mainly. Are you aware of any difficulties in that sector with regards to crossing borders? Are they kind of more affected than other products? Do you know?
I've never heard of that. Trinidad exports cocoa for the markets globally as well. Some of the chocolates, brand chocolates, use our cocoa internationally. I've never heard of an issue that, warrant any concerns. I mean, once the documentation is in order, and we are moving through the network, I never, my experience, I'm not sure if Jason has, and I have never witnessed or heard of any complaints about cocoa industry from Trinidad to the globe.
I think that's really useful to understand for the group as well. And it also, what you're saying, that's my experience as well, working in other, other industries and so on. But generally, crossing borders, like 99% of the time, like it works easily, especially when using carriers like DHL that have a reputation. Like my experience has been like, very, very seldomly do we get held up at the border. So I just want to clarify that to everyone, in the group, so you don't think that this is a major issue. It's not a major issue, I believe.
Correct.
Back to Rachel. Yeah.
We have a question.
Thanks for that as well.
We do have a question from Jans, and it's 10:48. So just watching the time. But Jans is saying when we export to the USA, the EU, the UK, we always send with certificate of origin. We should not pay duties because of that. But when we ship with DHL, also UPS, they don't use the certificate of origin when doing the customs process. So we always end up paying duties when we even write it big on the invoice and underline it and mark it, but does not work. What can we do to improve that and avoid paying duties that we shouldn't be paying? That's one specific question. So Jens, can you just tell us where you're shipping out of? What country?
Right. It's Dominican Republic.
Okay, right.
Dominican. So what I will ask you to do is get in touch with your DHL rep. Get in touch with your DHL rep, express your concerns. I'm not sure if you ever did it before.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That does not work. They say it's not their, how do you say?
Jurisdiction.
It should be the people from UK or EU, for example. So I tried that, doesn't work. And I wonder why is, pardon?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand because it's not only DHL, as I said, it's also UPS. We send with both, depending on price and stuff.
That's strange. So what you want to try this? Because what happened, you could forward the documentation. Let's try this and see if it works. Forward the documentation to your DHL rep, and let's ask very nicely for him to or her to present that to DHL network via the email, advising them via email in writing that your product should not track duties. And because of these documents, sorry?
To DHL network?
Yeah, he will then send the email to internally, of course, to the network, the teams that probably in final destination, and try to pre-alert them of your issue. He can try and see if that works. At least you have something in writing formally to him, showing that, you know, this is not supposed to be.
Even in Europe,
in the Dominican Republic, do you have any contacts there that you can share directly?
Yeah, I have one contact, but yeah, it's difficult.
I meant if Hugo and they may have a different person within the network.
Okay.
Yes, I have a rep there that I'm close with. I can get her information. I can send it to you, Rachel. That's no problem.
Yeah, and I'll forward it. Jens, we can forward it to you and see.
Okay, thank you.
But I know that happens. It it happens a lot. And I think Hugo highlighted something very important. Your relationship with your service provider is very important. Being in the Caribbean, you know, we have that way where we can connect with other persons within service industries. But I think documentation, a paper trail, constantly doing an official letter saying this, you know, all the information provided is important. And we can connect you to persons that, as I said, the rep here right now has in the Dominican Republic. You know, sometimes it's just really speaking to somebody different within the organization. And Ellen is saying Trinidad does not have the issue with cocoa shipping. We noticed that when we had to ship cocoa beans for the Cocoa Excellence Award based in Rome, Italy, she didn't have those particular challenges. So as we know, there's a lot of variability in shipping sometimes, but your relationship with your service provider is going to be really important here, and which is why we're connecting you with someone directly from the DHL network. Of course, they are just one service provider. We're not biased against one, but at the end of the day, they may be able to answer some specific or solve some specific issues or challenges that you might be facing. Does anyone else have questions? Hugo, of course, if you all want to just share your email address in the chat in the meantime. So if anyone has questions, they can always email you guys directly or at least direct them to the person the direct contact.
Rachel, I have another question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Yeah. So just to kind of reiterate to our friends at DHL, what we're trying to do here and like what the context is, and see like more broadly how they can potentially help. Because so we're a group here. I think there's 30 people on today. I think we are 40 in total, and it's all cocoa and coconut sector. And we're building websites on Shopify, but also helping with other platforms. So we're here to help market, right? And so what we need is like the logistics support to make the trade happen. And so one thing that I kind of want to clarify for you guys is, so cocoa and coconut, those are probably not the typical items for, at least for DHL Express, because in my experience it's more kind of the more expensive items that have express shipping. Now, what we're trying to do, or what we'll certainly be doing, is we'll select some of the companies, and our project has funding to help them deploy, a certain number of products into warehouses. And we need that support to get the products from the Caribbean into the target market. That's either the United States or Europe. And those would be parcels of, perhaps 50 kilos, 100 kilos, around there, right? And so, express shipping is obviously usually not the first choice for this kind of business. But I just want to see, I just want to understand, since you mentioned that you also do the kind of B2B or small B2B, do you have kind of a pricing model for that sort of thing? Or is there anything you could do to help us as a group in terms of the rates that you have? Is this something, what are your thoughts there? Or could we discuss something?
Yeah, so we do have specific pricing only for e-commerce customers, but because you indicated these shipments are between 50 to 100 kgs, we could also customize a special price for those type of shipments as well.
Okay, that's good to hear. And you think it could be in a so I'm kind of aware that DHL is sort of the Rolls-Royce of shipping, right? So it's very good. The quality is amazing. That's my experience. Also as a customer buying things, but it's also expensive. It has a price tag. And in some of the other projects, what we were able to do is we were able to negotiate some rates for e-commerce, and that really helped us. And so yeah, the question is simply, I guess it'd be great to follow up and to see if we can discuss something, and if we can see that we find like a rate that would work for us commercially.
Definitely.
So
I agree.
I'm just putting that out.
No, I agree, because we definitely don't want customers to get turned away because of the price, right? So that's why we are very flexible in terms of what we could offer and what we can't offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So maybe, Rachel, we could aim to have like a follow-up discussion.
I mean,
and see
the truth is, like, you all know the challenges of having an e-commerce business in the Caribbean. We all want to grow the sector from, Columbus communication. Like, everybody is trying to build e-commerce digital businesses in this sector, right? We say we're 1% of the population, but the products and the foods that we produce are demanded globally, right? So I think it's really, how do we solve these challenges for e-commerce businesses, specifically within the Caribbean? So, I mean, us connecting these contacts for you guys is really that first step into how can we build a network to show that, okay, there are 15 e-commerce progressive businesses in the Caribbean that need support. And I'm sure Hugo and Jason are gonna hopefully, provide that support and that information. But it's really about taking advantage of this opportunity now. And, their emails are in the chat. So email them any questions specific to your requirements, and I know they will direct you accordingly. But there isn't this one answer, one solution across the board. We have to solve this collectively. And I think that we have someone here listening in and that can support that. So Chris already said we will send the contact details to you guys in a follow-up email. So please reach out to Hugo and Jason and just sort of, you know, take advantage of this opportunity. I'm sure they're gonna support as best as they can. But thank you to Jason and Hugo for taking the time. And I know y'all weren't supposed to present, but we really do appreciate your insight and sharing with us some of the opportunities that exist with DHL. I know you all offer integration solutions for e-commerce stores digitally, and you all have a whole support system around there when you're building your e-commerce platform and integrating shipping logistics. So, you know, we'll be in touch, obviously, and we're hoping that we can create a strong relationship here.
One of the platforms that we like to work with as well is Shopify.
Okay,
So
awesome.
Easy integration with Shopify as well. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So that's good to know. So guys, you know, if you're selected in this next phase, and even those who are part of it, we're not gonna not answer your emails. You know, it's a support community and a network here. So, you know, I'm excited to see how we can integrate and just get our Caribbean products in the hands of global consumers, you know? So thank you. We're 10:59, Fabian. We did
Perfect timing, guys.
Oh, wow, amazing.
I mean, I'm like disconnected and all that today, which is crazy, but I appreciate your patience. And thank you to everybody for just sharing. And you know, we're here to solve this. So looking forward.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending, especially all the DHL representatives. This is super helpful. And we'll send you a follow-up email with all the resources that were shared today so that you can rewatch the session, go through the slides again, or even contact Jason or Hugo if you need that. And we'll meet you next Tuesday for our next session. Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good day.
Everyone is saying thank you. So Ruth is
Yeah.
saying
Amazing.